Hello everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to have the opportunity to speak to you today, and I would like to personally thank Alex O'Donnell and Dawn Harris for their kind invitation to open this session. There has never been a more critical time than now in the midst of this pandemic for us to come together to get a sense of our collective solidarity by focusing our enthusiasm and our constructive energy on making sure that our services and our systems don't just go back to how they were, but that we use this experience and evidence to shape our future for the better. And that includes a shared understanding of how trauma and adversity can affect any one of us at any time, and particularly how it shapes the future of our children and young people. It goes without saying that to understand trauma and adverse childhood experiences, we must understand children's rights. They are completely and intrinsically interlinked. I'm incredibly proud that Scotland is set to become the first country in the UK to directly incorporate the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child into domestic law. Sadly, I know that it's not possible to eliminate all traumatic experiences from the lives of all children, but if we can incorporate a rights-based approach in everything we do, creating an empowering environment where there are loving and nurturing relationships in place, it is possible to prevent further adversity and to support healing and reconnection. One of the most important aspects of the current situation is how it's illustrating the absolute importance of self-care and good mental health. A few weeks ago, I announced our transition and recovery plan for mental health, which lays out this government's response to the mental health impacts of COVID-19. It addresses the many challenges that the pandemic has had and will continue to have on the population's mental health. And I would encourage all of you to have a look at that plan. We also need to think carefully about how the people who are already vulnerable before this pandemic started, who were already feeling disconnected or marginalised. And this pandemic is likely to have an impact which will last many years and many generations into the future, which is why we need to think long-term in our approach to recovery. And one of the most critical elements that we must keep at the heart of our planning is the power of positive relationships and connectedness. I believe that Scotland is well placed to lead the way on this. Our shared ambition is for a trauma-informed workforce and services across Scotland, capable of recognising where people are affected by trauma and adversity and to respond in ways which prevents further harm and which supports reconnection. Our National Trauma Training Programme, led by NHS Education for Scotland, provides resources and support to help facilitate this ambition. And absolutely central to this work is listening, really listening to what those of us with lived experience of trauma are saying needs to be improved. I know that there is already a huge amount of progress being made across local authorities and communities in Scotland. And I want to thank everyone for their continued efforts and their commitment. I also want to reinforce the Scottish Government's commitment to a trauma-informed approach to recovery and working holistically to make this happen. So on that note, I hope you enjoy the rest of your session, and thank you again for the opportunity to speak to you today.